All right, I'm going to give you guys 7 players you need to sell right now before NFL Week 1 starts. Get rid of them, trade them high, trade them whatever. It's time to dump these 7 players off immediately before the season starts, before you end up into a Cam Akers, Allen Robinson situation we just had on Thursday Night Football. If you watched the game, everyone was telling you, Cam Akers, end of round 2. Everyone was telling you, Allen Robinson, draft him. He's going to have a good year, but he had 1 reception for 12 yards. So players to sell right now before it looks really, really ugly for you. Dump these guys off, guys. You still have a chance. Trade high, and I'm going to tell you who they are right here, right now. Now, you guys are watching the games. Football is back. Before we get into this, guys, FFC20 is the code you want to use. When you're hungry, write this code down. I have a pen. If you're hungry, FFC20, head on over to Hooters.com or download the app and save $10 on an order of 30 or more on takeout or delivery at select locations. I repeat, save $10, guys, on your order of 30 or more on takeout or delivery. Try the nachos, try the wings. Check out their menu, guys, Hooters.com or download the app. When you're hungry before game time, after game time, during halftime, whenever you're hungry, guys, you have to try their food. Order, guys. Use code FFC20, Hooters.com or download the app right now. Go write that code down. Go order some food. What are you waiting for? All right, guys, let's dive into this show. We're talking about 7 players you need to sell right now. Let's get to it. I'm excited. Are you? Go order some Hooters, by the way. All right, guys, if you're new to the channel, subscribe, thumbs up. We're going year long. I'm going to be breaking news. We're going to be talking about everything from waiver wires to start to sits, everything right here. Now, if you want direct access, patreon.com/FFCounselor. I've linked it below. The most tight community, solid community, passionate community, patreon.com/FFCounselor. I've linked it below. All right, guys, let's talk about these 7 players you need to sell right now. Who are they? First one's going to shock you. Let's talk about it. It's Cooper Kupp. Yes, I'm doubling down on what I said yesterday. I am tripling down on what I said yesterday. Cooper Kupp looked good, had a great game. But the question is, like it was going into the season, is this sustainable? And I'm going to have an answer for that right now. I'm going to say, heck, I'm trying to find the big words. I don't want to curse. Heck no, it's not sustainable. Now, if you look at it, Matt Stafford looked rough. 3 interceptions. The O-line couldn't even protect him. Now, you could say that Buffalo was a great defense. You could say that. I totally agree with that to some degree. But going into the season, we were talking about Stafford's elbow, and I said that they were downplaying, and I said there's going to be a Super Bowl hangover. I mentioned all this stuff, okay? Now, Allen Robinson, everyone's telling you draft Allen Robinson. I'm like, I don't believe in Allen Robinson. Last time he had a good year was 2014, right? He had the 14 touchdowns with like Blake Bortles, right? Hasn't been able to perform, and everyone's telling you draft Allen Robinson. I'm like, fade him, right? Someone's got to catch the ball, right? If they keep force-feeding Cooper Kupp, which, again, could happen, they're not going to win games because defenses are going to catch on to this ridiculously obvious pattern, okay? Cooper Kupp is not the greatest wide receiver in the NFL, not even close, and I don't care what anybody says. Prior to last year, he didn't even have a good year. He was force-fed. Defenses are going to catch on, and he's not sustainable at this pace, guys. He's not going to sustain it. Not to mention injuries happen, things happen. Stafford can't stay healthy, right? They've got to spread the ball around if they want to win. Higbee dropped the ball here and there, but Higbee was more of a target than Allen Robinson was. Cam Akers has got to get integrated. I don't believe Henderson's the solution. I mentioned this team is going to be suffering a significant Super Bowl hangover, and Thursday Night Football proved it. And I don't care. You can make excuses that it was Buffalo. I don't care. I am doubling down. I'm telling you right now, sell Cooper Kupp high. His stock is very high, and it's not sustainable. It is not sustainable. I am sticking to my word. I have no apologies. I'm unapologetic about Cooper Kupp busting this year. And even if he has a great year, I do not care because I actually went robust RB and I faded wide receiver early because there's a ton of depth at wide receiver. I'm sticking to my guns here. Give him week 1. I'll give Cooper Kupp week 1. But after that, guys, let's move on with our lives, okay? I would sell him. Second player you need to sell here, and again, everyone's so high on Cam Akers. I was telling you guys, years to wow us, we're not wowed. There's a reason I went with that saying. Now, occasionally a player will come out and say, Joe, here you go. I've wowed you now. Okay, congratulations. Good on you. Austin Eckler did that, right? He sucked for years, had a good year. Okay, it happens. This year, I'm going to tell you right now, second player here, sell now. Sell high, sell now is DeAndre Swift. Again, if you guys watch Hard Knocks, Williams, it was a 50-50 committee last year. Williams is no slouch. He's a lion. He's got the lion mentality. He's not going to sit on the bench and watch Swift get all the volume. I would say sell Swift now. I mean, if you look at his stats last year, he peaked at 151 rushing attempts, okay? And I know he's banged up a little bit, had a good stretch near the end, and I get it. But DeAndre Swift is not a workhorse running back on a suspect offense who I think is going to be throwing the ball a lot more. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be great. I think Hawkinson, if healthy, is going to be solid in the red zone. I think they've got some good weapons, okay? They drafted Williams, who I think is going to be a great, potentially a good receiver. At the end of the day, guys, Swift was very high draft capital in him. I'm not sold on him. I'm not sold on that. Detroit. When was the last time Detroit put out a top 10 running back? I went back 5, 6, 7, 8 years. I couldn't find one, so I just gave up at that point. I don't really give up on things. Detroit does not produce workhorse running backs. As of late, history shows us, okay? Past 5, 10 years, okay? So I'm going to be fading him, and I faded him this season. I'm unapologetic as well about this. DeAndre Swift, you need to sell him now. Years to wow us, we're not wowed, okay? Next guy here could go off, but I really, really doubt it, is Rashad Penny. I would sell him now. People still believe he's the guy. I'm all in on Ken Walker. There's been some hindrance on Kenneth Walker due to the hernia. I don't have the report as of right now whether he's starting, but I would imagine week 1 would be limited or maybe sitting for week 1 or 2. I don't care. Kenneth Walker is the long-term solution. You don't draft a player in the second round and bench him unless you are the Steelers who draft a first-round pick and bench him and Kenny Pickett, which I think will eventually get the start because I'm not sold on Mitch Trubisky. So if you have him, sell him too. There's a bonus as well because I think Pickett gets the job there. So going back to Penny, I think Kenneth Walker is the guy. Okay, second-round pick, more dynamic, more shifty, runs to the outside with speed and explosiveness. I'm sold more on on Walker than I am on Penny. I would sell Penny right now. I have no Penny stock. That's it. Bottom line. Not sold. Years to wow us, we're not wowed. He could prove me wrong, but I am selling right now. Next guy here, I'm still not sold on. I talked about this before, is Travis Etienne. Now, Travis Etienne has not played a game in the NFL, was drafted with relatively high draft capital. Now we're hearing as about a week ago that James Robinson is starting. Prior to the season, I mentioned, had the beat writer on. We talked about James Robinson being the starter, being the guy, okay? So I'm not sold on Etienne. I would sell him now. It's going to be a 50-50 committee. In fact, I would think it's a 60-40, 70-30 in favor of Robinson if he's healthy, right? The torn Achilles, you could say, people never come back 100%. I think Robinson's still young, dynamic, ready to go. He's had a lot of time to heal. So I'm looking at James Robinson and be like, hey, he's a great draft value. So if you still have to do a fantasy football draft, I would still consider Robinson late and fade Etienne. Or if you have Etienne, I would sell him now high, okay? That being said, these guys could all go off. I just don't believe in them, okay? Confirm my suspicions about Allen Robinson. Very accurate about that. And trust me, believe me, I know Cooper Kupp's going to be good for a couple weeks. I'm not saying Cooper Kupp's a complete bust. All I'm saying is he's going to have a significant decline, and I faded him, right? And I think an injury could happen, pinnacle Cinderella year. He's still going to be good for a week or two. Enjoy it while it lasts, right? Or I would sell him, okay? So Kupp, Swift, Penny, Etienne. 3 more. Next guy here, guys, I got 3 more left here, is A.J. Brown. Now, A.J. Brown busted last year, finished 32nd amongst wide receivers, was a top 10 wide receiver. This year, again, people like him. Going into a situation where they have a wide receiver one with Devontae Smith. I'm not sold on A.J. Brown. I don't think he's a true wide receiver one. I'm not really sold on Hurts being the solution. This is something that's going to be very interesting to watch, see how it unfolds, how much volume, how much consistency A.J. Brown can produce. He hasn't been a top 10 receiver as of late. Just not. He's just not that good. I think he's completely overrated. I think the Hurts thing, it's a boom or bust situation with Hurts. I would sell A.J. Brown as soon as you can. Not really sold, okay? Next guy here, and since we're talking Super Bowl hangovers, these guys made it to the Super Bowl coming off this astronomically pinnacle year. I would go ahead and sell the next guy here, and he was drafted very high, so you can get a good return while you can, is T. Higgins. I'm not sold on T. Higgins. I'm not excited about T. Higgins. He's a wide receiver too, and you invested high draft capital in him. So I would go ahead and trade him, get somebody who is worthy of a third-round pick, maybe a Breece Hall, maybe a Zeke Elliott, maybe a Michael Pittman, or someone who's a little more secure in their position and they're going to get volume, okay? That's what I would do. Now you can say, well, Joe, how do you trust Breece Hall? I don't really, right? But at the end of the day, second-round draft pick, top prospect at running back, potentially going to get that workhorse volume. Michael Carter sucked. There's a lot of, green flags. Green means go, that say green. It's funny because the Jets are green as well. I'm going to say there's more upside with a Breece Hall than there is a T. Higgins, who's a clear-cut wide receiver 2 on his team. And we saw what happens to wide receivers 2 there with Allen Robinson in regards to that game. Again, different team, different scenario. But I'm not investing a third-round pick on a clear-cut wide receiver 2 with Jamar Chase there, who I think is going to take a step up this year. So Higgins, third-round ADP, very expensive. I would sell now before there's going to be significant regrets, because there's so much depth at wide receiver and so many other wide receivers that are going to surpass T. Higgins this year, right? Last guy here is James Conner. I'm not sold on Conner. Years to wow me, so we're not wowed. Had a pinnacle year last season. Touchdowns will not be duplicated, not even close. He's had his share of injuries, cannot stay on the field over the past couple of years. Had a decent year last year. I think that was his last hurrah, his big bang, whatever you want to call it. James Conner, very high draft capital this year. I would trade him and sell him while you still can and get a true workhorse. All right, guys? So Cooper Kupp, not sold. I'm doubling down on what I'm saying. Could have a good year, but I'm not going to be apologetic at all in regards to my decision of fading him in round 1. He will decline. He will not return his ADP. Matt Stafford showing signs of regression already, and a Super Bowl hangover confirmed my suspicions, okay? Swift, very expensive, staying away, not sold. Years to wow, we're not wowed. Lions do not produce those type of running backs. Top 10 anyway. He was at number 8 in PPR. Penny, years to wow, we're not wowed. Look out, Kenneth Walker's coming through. Etienne, very expensive. James Robinson's going to eat. A.J. Brown, busted last year, not sold. Fooled me once, not going to do it again. It didn't fool me. I avoided him last year, but you guys get the point. Higgins, wide receiver 2, very expensive. Fade. And James Conner, pinnacle year, not going to happen. Sell now. All right, guys, subscribe, thumbs up. Hopefully this helps you guys. If you got 60 rounds, you'll be sitting pretty. Let's get some wins this weekend. All right, guys, appreciate it. Thumbs up. Breaking news, waiver wire starts, everything here. If you want direct access, go to patreon.com/FFcounselor. Get in and go order some Hooters, guys. Use code FFC20, Hooters.com, and download the app. Save some money. All right, guys, go order some wings. Enjoy the games. Football is back. I'm excited. Are you? Drop a comment below. Let me know what you think. Who are you selling right now?